Hello. I wanted to do a piece of Undertale fan art, and I actually did it in Illustrator, which is something I don't normally do. I sketched it, and I inked it, and I actually just took a photograph of it. I don't even think I actually scanned it. And my husband works in Illustrator a lot, and I've been working a little bit in Illustrator for some commission work I've been doing. And my big complaint is it's all digital and you have to map things out. I mean, it's all digital, but I draw. I don't map things out very well. So he told me about this way to draw with a pencil tool, and you can see there on the side there's some different brushes. One of the default brushes is denim, and it kept accidentally switching to denim. But you can make a line shape and turn that into the brush, which I did. And there's the tapered line that I turned into a brush, and then there's the default blob, which I did for her cheek. And I ended up having to switch between both. It was really difficult. It felt, I don't want to say unintuitive, but it was very odd. I didn't feel like I was drawing. I felt like I was mapping out lines. But it did make my lines look really smooth. I have a bit of a shaky hand, and it did come through a little bit in certain spots, but it corrected enough for me. And there goes denim again. It corrected enough for me that it looked really smooth and really neat with the kind of artwork, the kind of art style, and the eventual shading that I end up doing, which I end up doing in Photoshop because that's just what I know. I was really happy with the end result. I don't think it's something that I'll do again. Maybe. I'm not sure. Probably not. And I wanted to do a piece for Undertale because I had this idea in my mind of just how Sans sort of, could take care of Frisk. And I just imagine how sweet and goofy he is. And I just really adore the character of Sans. And I know Sans and Frisk are supposed to be about the same height, but I just adore the idea of grown-up Sans or tall Sans or what have you, where he is definitely in this caretaker role, and he's just really sweet. And spoilers, I guess. I'll try not to spoil too much, but when you play through and the things he says and the things that you know that he knows, and the fact that he's still willing to, I don't know, just his personality and the way he is, some of it comes from the fact that he knows, and I would always assume that he's tired, and he's tired of dealing with it, and he hasn't given up though, and that's something that I really admire and I really like about his character. And a lot of fandom Sans is he that I like, at least, is he is not really giving up on hope, and he's not giving up on his friends, and it's just, I think it's really sweet and something that I really enjoy. I was actually thinking oh, maybe I could draw he's placing hot dogs on our head because of the scene with the hot dogs that you can get, but I ended up just doing this instead. It just kind of came to me. So once I finished it in Illustrator, I bring it into Photoshop, and I just kind of line it as usual. I do the background, or the base rather, color, and use that as my template. And then for the colors, I just did a not quite cell shading. I kind of want to do that still. I just haven't quite figured out how to make it look good. So I did something along the lines of cell shading. And for this I did, I think I did red on her skin, or his skin, depending on if you think Frisk is a boy or a girl. I think there's no wrong answer there. I always refer to Frisk as a girl. It just kind of came across as a girl character to me, possibly because I too was once a little girl that loved monsters, so I think you're also sort of supposed to see what you need to see in Frisk to be able to relate to them, and I think that in design is very, very nice, and that's not uncommon with the silent protagonist in video games. It allows you to project what you need to and what you want to and what they might be thinking, and you can go with what you would think in that situation. So I just think she's a girl. So from here on, I'm just going to call her her. And if you think Frisk is a boy, then just go ahead and mentally replace she with he. I really don't mind. So for her skin, I did the slightly more yellow-hued skin to try to match the color scheme of the sprite in the game, but also making it look like a realistic skin tone. On Sans, I didn't go through the process of making him look like he was made out of bones. This, I will admit, was a little bit of laziness on my part, but also not being very good at drawing skeletons. And it's something that I try to practice just for anatomy's sake, but it's something that I didn't want it to detract from the piece. So I just kind of went with it. I also watched I watched like theories and fan theories and things like that. So I watched a good one about like, oh, well, he's not really a skeleton, but he's like a monster that is designed to look like a skeleton. I can't remember exactly what it was. I mean, obviously, I watched Game Theory and I watched Gaijin Goomba, and they both had really, really cool things about what Sans is. So I kind of think along the lines of like, well, yeah, he's a skeleton, but he also could bleed. So maybe he's got a little bit of different design. His character model is vague enough that you can take what you want, and that's, again, something else that I think is a great design aspect of the whole game. Trying to talk about this game without spoilers. I'm sure there's still people that haven't played it. I definitely recommend it. I know there's a lot of hype and a lot of drama in like the fan base, but that's going to be in a lot of different fan bases, so don't let drama detract you from what you might end up liking, and detract from what you, if I'm using that word right, just enjoy things. Ignore the fan base. I ignore half of the fan base. Like, I just don't want to be involved in people being mad over something that's supposed to be about love and friendship and joy and the choices you make as a person. And I think that's a really important message that the game tries to put across. And it's something that we can all sort of learn from, not to get preachy or anything, but it's definitely something that made me really love it. And it made me really love the characters, the way they interacted with each other, and just the different endings that you can get. Just, I don't know, I can't really even like think of what to say. I just love it so much. And something really sweet and pure about the interactions between some of the characters, and again, Frisk is this person that you just project everything onto, and this is, I guess, my Frisk. Everybody has their own sort of interpretation, and mine is that she's happy, or she at least can be happy when she's with people that she loves, and she loves her friends. And one of them is Sans, so there we go. um, doing shading on blue is always tricky, difficult. When you're using blue, you tend to want to use a slightly different shade. You use the multiply layer. But I ended up having a little bit of trouble making the insides look darker, which I ended up doing a little bit later. And I think it comes across well enough, so I didn't mess with it too much. I really didn't know what to do with like his mouth because, again, he's supposed to be a skeleton, but he can smile and he has like little cheeks. So I had to improvise, and I figured, well, this is where the shadow goes. That's like most of drawing. It's like you know what to do because you studied and you figured it out and you've practiced, and then you go to do it and you have no idea what to do, where things go. At least I do. 90% of my art is guesswork. And hope. Lots of hope. And less hope as I figure things out, but definitely a lot of hope. And again, like the shadow on the arm, I wasn't really sure where it was going to go, and I just kind of played with it and played with the shadows underneath Frisk's legs. And I think I'm pretty pleased with the shadows. When you get in really close, you can see it's a little wobbly. I know that there's things that you can do to kind of correct your lines in Photoshop. There's apps or add-ons and whatnot, but I get weird about add-ons. I don't like using them. I like having them once I have one that I know I like, but I don't like change. I don't like trying to figure out how to make it work because I'm already not really struggling with drawing, but I still feel like I'm in a process of relearning a lot of things that I lost when I did stop drawing for a while, which is dumb and I shouldn't have done. And here I wanted a really cute background. I wanted some bubbles and flowers, and I thought the piece was going to be smaller, and I was going to have kind of like a wispy line that kind of followed the motion that they were going. So kind of at the top it would be to the left, and then down at the bottom would be towards the right more, and have maybe sort of a subtle S curve to it. But it ended up filling the whole page, and I didn't want to like lose the size, so I didn't rescale it. And I'm trying to get some sort of thing there. I didn't have any bubble preset on my brushes. I don't want to download new brushes. I was having fun with the different fun silly brushes, but none of them ended up really working. So I just made big splotches and then erased the middles, and they're not bubbles, but they give that circular look I was going for. So I think at some point, maybe if I can figure out how to make bubbles, I'll add them in, change it up a little bit. So hopefully I can figure that out. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.